in 2023, again, starting slowly, but definitely crossing a threshold in more ways than one. But today, we will discuss why you are here in physical reality. We understand many of you have many challenges with physical reality as an experience. And we know that many of you yearn to connect more strongly, or at least feel the connection more strongly that you have with spirit. But the idea is to remember that you chose to have this physical experience for your own purposes, for your own growth, because physical reality, being as dense as it is, a densification, a crystallization, as it were, of spiritual energy, a projection of consciousness, not a place unto itself exactly, but going on within your awareness, is for the purpose of exploring and examining things in a different way, a different time frame that allows you the opportunity, as we have said many times, to discover new aspects, new perspectives of yourself. But this idea of choosing to experience physical reality has many benefits that you can take advantage of for your own personal growth as a soul, as a being, as an aspect of all that is, as a reflection of the infinite, by learning to stay within positive frameworks, positive belief systems, positive outlook, positive expression, positive actions, energetically speaking. You can experience many wondrous things by exploring physical reality in that state of being, in that energy, that will allow you to experience the process of change in a way that will enhance your understanding, enhance your ability in the future, not only to grow for yourself, but to aid and assist others and serve others by having these experiences and becoming familiar with all the different kinds of challenges that you can have while experiencing the concept of physical reality. It gives you a repertoire, it gives you a library to aid and assist other beings who may not be as familiar with that experience, so that you can become living examples of how to navigate the idea of physical reality, discover how it can be easier and easier to give yourself the freedom to choose what works for you, the freedom to understand what is truly in alignment with a positive flow of energy, and to be able to impart your experiences to others who, again, may not be quite as familiar with the idea, or who may be facing challenges that they don't have the tools to transform. So it is very important, not only for your present experience, but also for what you call the future of your planet, that more and more of you truly learn to master the so-called limitations that you have created, that you've set up for yourselves, the challenges you've set up for yourselves while experiencing physical reality, to master them and transmit them, that experience, that mastery, to others in your own way, in your own words, to understand the principles upon which you have agreed to play this game with each other, and to what degree you are following the consensus reality, and to what degree you can allow yourself to move in your own individual direction simultaneously, in harmony, with full awareness that you have chosen this experience, and therefore full awareness of how you can use it to positive effect in many different ways. Allowing your imagination, your creativity to come into full play, to apply that creativity to every experience in your physical reality, to truly transform your awareness and your understanding of your relationship to all that is in this way, so that you can allow all that is to experience all that it can be through the idea of new experiences, even though everything exists It is the experience, as we have said, in the relationship, the perspectives that are new, because every single one of you is unique, a unique expression of all that is. And this holds true in physical reality as well. Even more so, in a sense, because you can do so many more things in physical reality than you can do in spirit. Now, that may seem like a contradiction, because we know that spirit allows you to experience greater things, different things, broader things, more expansive things, perhaps, than in physical reality. But physical reality has unique things that cannot be experienced in spirit. Your ability to utilize space and time, the framework you have created in which to experience this concept of physical reality in your consciousness, can be played like a musical instrument in many ways. You can create new orchestrations, new understandings, new relationships of space and time within your consciousness that will create beautiful music within all that is, beautiful new perspectives within all that is. This is an art form, physical reality, and you can learn to master it by following the idea of the formula, cosmic compass, as we say, the idea that there are ways in which you can understand how you are agreeing to play by the game of physical reality and play it in your way uniquely, harmoniously, beautifully. Take advantage of this opportunity. It is a gift. No matter how challenging it may seem at times, no matter how dark, no matter how negative it may seem at times, mastering this has everything to do with how you define your relationship to it, how you allow the challenges that come up in your life to be there for a reason, your reason, to really let go of any negative reflection of these ideas and know that even though you may recognize objectively that something may have been created from a negative space, that none of that has anything at all to do with how you will experience the effects of it in your life and become a living example of how to master and transform limitation into freedom, not only for yourself, but for others as well. Many others need these abilities, need to see in all of you that are willing to do so, how such things can be transformed to positive effect. So it's about becoming teachers, living examples, masters of limitation, so that you can shine forth in the physical world and paradoxically start to dissolve the idea of how solid physical reality appears to be. For again, it is nothing more than a projection of your consciousness, though played earnestly and sincerely to the degree where it seems so impenetrable, so solid. Yet now, because of your increased awareness, your expanded awareness of yourselves as spirit, it is becoming less so, more flexible, more malleable, more changeable, more transformable, more magical, more synchronistic in terms of your experience of what physical reality actually is as a mirror of what you believe to be true. So examine your beliefs, choose the ones that work for you, no matter what the scenario, no matter what the circumstance and situation. Use your imagination and creativity to figure out, how could this serve me? How can I learn something from this that can serve others? Always let that be the first question, no matter what crops up. How can this serve me? Use it that way, and you will turn yourself into a master magician and a living example of what others can also choose for themselves by seeing in you the willingness to know that physical reality was your choice, that you're willing to take responsibility for being in physical reality, and you're willing to expand your consciousness to the degree where you can allow physical reality to be your new musical instrument to play a beautiful song, a beautiful orchestration, a beautiful harmony that will invite and induce others to sing along, to play along with you, and allow physical reality to become something that you cherish, that is really truly a part of you in your experience forever and ever, that you are willing to utilize that way. This is why you are in physical reality. This and many other reasons of your own choosing. Use them well, use them wisely. But be present in them. Be present in this physical reality. Do not worry about the past. Do not worry about the future. Physical reality only exists in the present, just like everything. Be in it right now, as fully as you can be, as boldly as you can be, as lovingly as you can be. Be present and act from that presence. We thank you for allowing us to share this idea with you this day, in your new year, your new orbit. And we ask in return, in what way now may we continue to be of service to you? You may begin with your dialogues and questions if you wish.
Hello, Bashar. My name is Chow. Thank you so much for taking my question. I wanted to ask you to speak on belief systems a little deeper. You said in the past that once you realize a negative belief system that you have doesn't make sense, you let it go. I've seen this has happened, I know this is to be true. But I've been surprised lately because I've had a few negative, let's say, encounters or negative feelings. And when I ask myself, as you've taught, what do I have to believe about myself to feel this way? The answer has been things that I didn't realize I felt. So like 2 or 3 things. An example is like not being good enough. And so I have tried to reason this to myself and been like, well, listen, creation doesn't make mistakes. So obviously I exist, I'm worthy. I know I'm valid. I love myself. But these issues persist. And again, consciously, I don't feel like I have that belief system. I don't believe that I believe that. So I don't believe that. So maybe it's just my own awareness is lacking. But I was hoping maybe you could speak to that and offer some advice for people struggling on this level. And perhaps some advice for me in particular with that. Anything you can offer, I'd appreciate. Thank you so much. Much love.
All right. Well, again, perhaps you have to strengthen the part of that exercise that has to do with if you did, in fact, actually let go, if you did really understand that it's not true and let go of that idea that you're not worthy, as an example, are you afraid that something else will happen if you let that go? If you really are willing to be your true self in your society, are you afraid of something else happening when you are your true self? So we would encourage you at this particular point, without too much detail being given to you, to explore that side of the equation. What are you afraid might happen if you did let go of those particular definitions that you're discovering popping up in your unconscious mind? What would really happen? What do you believe might happen that you wouldn't prefer or that you might be afraid of? So we will encourage you to explore that at greater depth. Good day, good day.
Hi, Bashar. It's wonderful to feel you again.
And you as well. Please proceed.
Thank you so much. Yes, so I am wondering if anyone here on Earth are making or getting close to making spaceships the way you are making spaceships. And the reason
it will take a while. It will take a while before you can make them the way we do. However, you have the technology to make versions of craft using different kinds of energy that are non-polluting, that are much more advanced than what you have now. You have all of that technology. A lot of it over time has been suppressed by many people in your society who are operating out of fear. But the idea is you have the technology to make versions, but it will take you quite a while to make versions in the way that we do.
Right, I see. Yeah, one of the reasons I'm asking is because I'm listening to a lot of videos from different organizations like NASA and billionaires such as Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos, and they have big plans when it comes to space travel. And I know they are making a fuel, or they want to refuel their spaceships on the moon. And they're doing a lot of work, and I'm wondering if you are in contact with them at all, or if they are.
No, not directly with us, no.
Right, so they're doing it the Earth way.
Yes, but that's all right.
Okay.
They're in contact with whoever they need to be in contact, and most of that contact probably occurs most likely in dreams.
Ah, interesting.
So they're guided how they need to be guided for now. Eventually, they will come upon the understanding that there are other ways to do these things, other ways to travel in space, other kinds of energy sources they could be using. But for now, let's just say baby steps.
Okay, thank you. And I'm also wondering regarding the eye of the needle,
Yes.
where you said before Corona hit, you were warning us about the storm, and then you said that, if I remember correctly, that the eye of the needle will end sometime in 2023.
Yes.
Right. So I'm wondering, I just get a sense that there are more different kinds of storms coming, particularly maybe in the financial system.
Yes, there are many challenges that you will face this year, but again, that's all right because it provides the opportunity for clarity, for choosing the belief systems that truly work for you, that are positive in nature, to let go of fear-based belief systems, to streamline yourselves, strip away those things that are negatively oriented, that anchor you to a negative past, to move forward in a positive way. It's a challenge that many of you will be able to utilize to accelerate yourselves toward the future and toward the experience of open contact as it begins to unfold in 2023.
Right. Yeah, it's very exciting. It
Yes.
feels like we're, very transformative.
Yes.
And I'm also wondering, you said in a video that the hybrid children don't necessarily want to sit down and eat all the time, or some of them find it interesting how often we eat.
Yes.
And and my toddler is the same way. I mean, it's very difficult to get him to sit down at the table and eat.
Yes.
But if he doesn't eat, he gets hungry, and that can lead to other challenges. So my question is there a better way to handle meal time with young children?
Well, the idea, first and foremost, is that many of them may require a lighter diet in terms of what it is they eat. You can explore with the child what it is they may be excited or attracted to at certain times when they are hungry. The idea can be worked through in discussions, in conversations, and you can use your creative imagination to, shall we say, describe the different foods that probably are beneficial for them in ways that get them excited about them. You can make up stories about them in terms of what their abilities are, what they will give to the body, what they will allow the child to experience if they incorporate those substances in their body. Remember, the idea of teaching a child requires the parent and the teacher to be as creative and imaginative as a child in coming up with how to have a conversation that really gives the child an understanding from a different perspective about what certain foods will do for the child to help them thrive and sustain their viability in physical reality. So it's up to you to be creative with the stories about what the different foods will do.
Okay. Yeah, excellent.
All right.
Just if I may, one more.
Yes.
I'm just wondering if everyone in this community are likely part of the hybridization agenda, right?
With a great degree of probability, most individuals who have contact with us through these conversations have something to do with the hybridization agenda in general, most probably. It's not an absolute, but most probably.
And if someone was part of the hybridization agenda but is not really attracted to your type of information, does that just mean that they're not ready yet and perhaps will be later?
It may mean many things. It may mean they have their own way of interpreting the idea, their own way of expressing it, their own path to follow. That may not necessarily be exactly what seems to be aligned with what we're saying. Nevertheless, yes, it's possible that further down the path, they may key back in to some of the principles that we talk about and share with all of you. But again, remember that one of our most important principles is to allow everyone to follow their path.
Absolutely, yes.
But no, they don't have to immediately exhibit what seems to be a harmonious agreement with everything that we're saying. That doesn't mean they're not part of the hybridization agenda. And remember, we're not the only one delivering these kinds of informations. So they may key into someone else because of where they're at in life and what they need to hear and the way they need to interpret it. It doesn't mean they're not part of the hybridization agenda just because they're listening to something else.
Right.
So,
That's
does
very
that
helpful.
serve you? All right. Thank you very much and good day.
Thank you. You too.
Hello, Bashar. My name is Gabby, and I'm from Chicago, but I currently reside in Costa Rica. I had quite an interesting question to ask. So the question is, what if we are watching our life through the real us, through our intention and our energy and our presence, and our life is actually a video to the real us, and it's just a mirror reflecting to us in the real us perspective. Thank you for your time.
Well, in a sense, that is so. You are creating a projection of your consciousness. If you want to call it a video, you can. You can call it a hologram, whatever you wish to call it. It's a projection of your consciousness. That's what physical reality is, and that's why it's a mirror. It's reflecting your state of being, your belief system, what you believe to be true about yourself and your relationship to the idea of the collective consensus reality that you've all agreed to participate in. So yes, in a sense, most of you is still in spirit, observing what the physicalized portion of your consciousness is going through, almost like watching a video from the spirit point of view. But of course, while you are in the video in physical reality, you may not necessarily experience it as a video. You experience it as a real thing happening to you. But it's still, nevertheless, a projection of your consciousness. But as we said, yes, a reflection of your state of being that can be used to guide you in life so that you can choose the state of being that you prefer instead of simply going along with what the mirror of physical reality is reflecting to you at any given moment.
Hi, Bashar. How are you doing?
Perfect. And you? Good day?
Great. I'm very grateful for the interaction. Thank you for the opportunity.
My pleasure, my passion.
Thank you. So my first question is around aging. You've mentioned before that you're 100-some-year-old, but you still look like you're in your 30s. So I know you appreciate my interest in staying youthful. So there's a book by David Sinclair called Lifespan, where he explains that basically aging is the process of damage to the DNA. So I can walk through a quick example. For example, if a skin cell wants to replicate, it goes and it reads the instructions from the DNA to create a new cell. When the DNA is not damaged, all it finds is one set of instructions for a skin cell. But
Yes.
when we go through life and the DNA is damaged, the wrapping around some of the instructions get loose.
Yes.
And so now a skin cell goes to try to replicate into a new cell, and it finds different sets of instructions, for example,
Yes.
one for liver cell and whatnot.
Yes.
And that leads to defective cells, and therefore that leads to aging organs. So I would love to hear your thoughts about that, and if there is any way for us to prevent damage to the DNA, or even maybe reset it to its original state.
It all begins with energy. It all begins with state of being. It all begins with your belief systems about yourselves. Always start there. The patterns of energy are what determine what's going on within your DNA. And those patterns of energy, positive and negative, are all from the idea of what you have been taught to believe is true about your relationship to yourself, your relationship to others, your relationship to physical reality, all the definitions you hold on to that don't serve you, that are out of alignment with your true vibration. And it begins there. So being out of alignment with your true core frequency causes misalignments within your physical structure and in your DNA. So it all begins there. This is again why we give you the formula. Follow your passion. It keeps you aligned. That's the energy of connection between your physical and higher mind. It allows you to sustain a vibrational state of being that is representative of maturation, but not of denigration, not of disintegration. So it all starts with vibrational alignment, energy alignment within the self, and that translates into physical belief systems, definitions that you hold to be true that are not necessarily in alignment with who you really are.
Got it. Okay, so it's all about state being, but do we need to be concerned about, for example, the collective consciousness and how it affects our DNA?
I would suggest that you be aware of it. You don't have to be concerned by it, but the more awareness you have of what you are making agreements to align with will certainly help guide you in what alignments and agreements you can let go of and which ones are actually beneficial for you.
Okay, got it. So if we actually kind of, I guess control might not be the right word, but if we control our state of being, then it kind of overrides whatever collective consciousness is doing to our DNA.
Yes, unless you have chosen, and this could be unconsciously, to use the challenge in a particular way for yourself, then generally speaking, yes. As long as you allow yourself, not control, but allow yourself
Got it.
to align with your true core vibration, then yes, you can maintain a relatively youthful experience. Again, you can mature without the idea of denigrating yourself through the process you refer to as aging. However, again, some of this will still be a leftover residual experience from your connections to the collective consciousness and what you believe is possible or probable for you to experience. Now, this does not erase the idea that some people have chosen to experience the idea of aging and the denigration for their own purposes. So you may not necessarily eliminate all of it if people are using that experience to their benefit on a soul level in some way, shape, or form. So don't necessarily assume that it will all go away right away. But you can maintain a more youthful state and an energetic state by following the formula and staying in the present and being true to yourself and aligning harmoniously with your true core frequency.
Got it. Okay, thank you. And so as far as following the formula, I follow my excitement. So I do change a lot. And so I feel like that is part of following my excitement. Sometimes I do wonder whether this constant change is following my excitement versus, maybe avoidance of sun. Yeah.
Well, as long as you constantly wonder that, and as long as you constantly check in with yourself, as long as you are honest with yourself and
Hi, Bashar. This is Erin from Shepherdstown, West Virginia. And I was wondering if you would describe, metaphorically and or literally, how a tree would experience having a word spray painted on it. Thank you.
Well, it depends on the tree, in some senses. It depends on the word, in some senses. It depends on the reason for why it's being done, in some senses as well. So you're kind of looking at a very complex combination of factors that go into why such an action would be taken. Now, of course, you might say, well, it's not an ideal action. It's not representative of something that exists per se in the nature of the tree to have something painted upon it in that way. But again, as a human is also an expression of nature, it can be reflective in the tree, like an animal, may allow for something to happen between itself and a human that will, if the human is conscious enough, reflect back to the human the reasons for why the human felt the need to do that, that can then, from the tree's reflection, put the human in touch with belief systems within it that cause that particular behavior to occur. So trees may be willing sometimes to take that on in order to reflect back to the human something that will put the human in touch with what belief systems are going on within the human's consciousness that caused it to believe that it needed to reflect that on the tree in that way. So it depends on the person, it depends on the tree, depends on the reasons, depends on the circumstance at that moment, and a variety of other things going on. In a sense, you could say it's not necessarily, in its purest sense, representative of an ideal balance, but then again, it may be part of a process to help the human get into an ideal balance.
Hi there, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
Pleasure talking to you again. Hope you've
All
been
right,
well.
speak up, please.
Okay. The U.S. presidential election has been very energetic and polarizing.
Yes.
Will we begin to see more change within each other, a bipartisanship between one another? Basically, what I want to do is compare and contrast the energy of what we're leaving to what we're going to as far as the way people are communicating with one another societally.
Yes. If you are willing to do so, that is what you will see. And that's what we're referring to in this transition time, not only over the next couple of months, but also over the next couple of years. It may take 1 to 2 of your years to truly begin, if you practice, the idea of finding unity, harmony, commonality, connection. If you are willing to get at the core issues, because many times what you are calling the concept of partisanship is nothing more than an over-focus on the surface features that individuals believe represent what it is they prefer, but quite often are not. So the idea is that if you really get down to the core issues, the core of each issue, you will find that there's a lot more commonality than you may think. It's just that many people represent these things by different symbols that appear to be polarized. When you can get down to the real reasons, the core reasons why people say they want what they want, why people say they need what they need, you can find that they will almost always come down to some very basic concepts that you all share a desire for. And then once you get to the core and realize what the common need is among all of you, then you can work your way back out and use symbols that are less polarizing, because now you understand that you actually have a common goal of the need of the core that will serve everyone to the best of its ability, and you can use fewer polarizing symbols, maybe even no polarizing symbols, to allow yourselves to work together hand in hand to achieve those things, to manifest those things, now that you don't necessarily believe that they're really on opposite ends of the spectrum, but really just different representations of the same basic need that you all have.
I understand that very clearly. I think so many of us are more down the center on things than we realize. And this actually plays into a follow-up question that kind of goes into, this year we had a lot of discussion about social media. Yes. And our communication, via computers, via social networks, and whether that is helpful or harmful in our lives.
Well, it depends upon the person. It depends upon how it's being used. Like anything, remember, when people ask polarizing questions, no offense.
Yeah, no, it's okay.
But the way in which the question was asked assumes that there is simply only one way to look at it from a different point of view. Remember, it's not this or that, it's this and that. Anything can serve double duty. Anything can be experienced positively or negatively. So it's up to the individual to understand within themselves how they are using something, why they are using something the way they are using it, to come to terms with whether or not they believe that they can only use it negatively or believe that they can use it positively.
Understand. So you would suggest that let's say Bashar was on Facebook, or your interactions with, so many of us, I think, are drawn in by wanting to see and experience each other's lives as a form of connection.
Yes.
But we also have other things due to algorithms and things out of our control that
we understand, but they're not really completely out of your control. If you recognize what those algorithms are doing to create more polarization, then you can come to terms and come to an agreement of how to change the algorithms so that it actually creates more realization, more awareness, and more unity.
Do you think we will have more people understand? I very clearly understand the algorithms in my own personal experience online, that the more negative I look at, the more it feeds me more of what I perceive as negative.
Yeah.
Will we have more people understanding the way social media works in their lives and making those choices? Or
well, yes, but again, please do remember, You're asking the question as if more people on the world you're on now have to do that. The idea is you never change the world you're on. You change yourself and shift yourself to a version of Earth that already contains more people that understand that.
Okay, I understand that.
All right.
Another thing, this is one that kind of deals with the spiritual communities, because I'm someone who's participated in a lot of different spirituality communities over time. And I have this perspective these days. I just see a lot of, again, split in that world as well.
Yes.
Where I have a discordance, and I don't want to focus on it at times, but I see it even within dear close friends of mine.
Well, yes, you're going to see it more and more and more. Remember that as you expand your consciousness, you see more of both sides. Now, you don't have to experience both sides, but you become more aware that polarity does exist on every level except the one. So the idea is not to worry that just because you can see more of it, that somehow it affects you. Again, it's the idea that seeing it gives you the opportunity to decide more clearly what it is you prefer based on seeing what you don't prefer. So just because you can see something happening doesn't mean it affects you unless you choose to be affected by it.
Okay, I understand that. I have a question about kind of switching gears here about meditation.
Permission slip, yes.
And using frequencies, which are actually like binaural beats, sometimes people call them, specific frequencies. Is there a specific frequency that helps people get into that you would suggest that people seek out when meditating or trying to align?
Well, again, different things will work for different people in different ways, of course. But in general, one that is sort of, let's say, representative of the collective consciousness is what is often referred to in your language as the Schumann frequency of Earth, 7.85 cycles per second. Now, the Schumann frequency can change, and it often does, and can go up as high as 30 cycles per second or more, depending upon the overall collective emotional energy of your societies on Earth. But the base frequency of about 7.85 cycles per second can be effective as an archetypal frequency that reflects the collective consciousness connection to Earth and its expression as nature. So you can begin there and experiment with it if you wish, but let your imagination be your guide as to what it leads you to, because again, remember, the permission slips you are attracted to because at that moment they will work for you, even if they don't work for someone else. That's why you're attracted to use them.
Okay.
Does that help?
That does help.
All right.
And let's see. I don't know if I have the. I'll ask you one last question.
Oh, all right.
If you don't mind. Are there any within those that very clearly know? I find it interesting in our society now that we have our own military that is releasing information and videos of supposed extraterrestrial craft.
Yes, the very beginnings of disclosure.
Right. With as far as like presidents and world leaders, are there those that are kind of left out of that knowledge base within the, let's say, military industrial complex?
The individuals who would leave presidents and higher officials out of that particular knowledge base, as you say, out of the loop, I suppose your people say,
yeah,
are not really part of that complex. They're a completely separate body at this point in your history.
Interesting. Can you
so many of your highest officials know nothing about, except maybe on a very cursory level, what some of the individuals know who are actually the ones monitoring these things.
And is there a reason for that? Is there a reason? Have they separated themselves from those leaders over time? I assume they have. Is it for military power, or is it because they don't?
Well, they have a multitude of their own reasons, so to speak. Some of them being the acquisition of power, some of it being the prevention of power in other people's hands, some of it being fear-based in terms of what it might do to the society to know these things. some of it religious based on their assumption of what extraterrestrials may be. But for the most part, most of the withholding is to some degree based on some form of fear-based belief system.
Okay, very interesting. Well, I appreciate getting to speak with you today.
And you as well.
I hope you are well, and I'll speak to you hopefully sometime down the line. Take care of yourself.
We thank you and our unconditional love to you.
Much love to you as well.
Hello, Bashar. Thank you for the co-creation. This is Ishan from Australia. I have a question regarding to our memories. So my question is, why do we have memories and what does that serve to us? And I know the time is always now, but is that a side effect of having our so-called space and time in our dimension? Thank you. Bye.
Yes, it is. Because memories are created in the present, no matter what they represent about the so-called past, because the past is an illusion. Nevertheless, from a linear perspective, it gives you the opportunity to learn from something that you consider to be the past. It allows you to grow in a linear way. So you have created the concept of memory to create continuity for yourselves in the illusion of time and space, so that you can see a progression of change which allows you to discover something about yourself that is new.
Hello.
And to you, good day.
Thank you for having me, Bashar.
It is our passion and our pleasure.
Okay, so I feel like the final splits for 2020 are one where Trump wins and one where the other part wins.
There are always alternate realities with things that happen that don't happen in yours. Always.
Okay.
And there are different versions of all of them in different realities. It's not just two. There are many, many realities with different versions of both of those scenarios and other scenarios that have nothing to do with what you experienced, of course.
I want to know what are the chances that I will shift to the reality where Trump actually wins. What would improve my chances to shift to that reality? Because right now I would like to quit my job in another city, although I have another stable income at this time.
Your communication is breaking up, which is an indication that your vibration is breaking up and is not consistent within yourself. Remember that you can shift wherever you wish to as long as you are in a vibrational state that promotes the shift. Whether that be a negative state or a positive state is up to you. But the idea is you will shift according to whatever vibration you create within yourself based on your belief systems and whether or not those belief systems are fear-based or joy-based.
Okay, is my communication okay now?
At the moment, it is.
Okay, so before the age of 7, I was hybridized by the Greys, and that involved some work at the root chakra.
Yes, yes.
What is happening is that in any apartment building, I cannot properly rest at night because there is a location where multiple people are living in the apartments around me. So
why don't you move?
Well,
so why don't you move?
I move. If I move, I need to move somewhere in nature, basically.
So why don't you? What's stopping you?
Well, I need to have some comfort. I mean, it would be expensive.
What makes you think you won't?
I mean, I actually bought a car and to make it as a camper van.
You are breaking up again. It's important for you to understand that this is not just a technological glitch. It's a reflection of your own energy.
I know.
You're not coherent within yourself because you are creating too many details that you think you have to work to put together instead of allowing the flow of your life to lead you and guide you in an automatic way. You are imposing too many limiting belief systems on yourself about what you think you need in order to experience what it is that you prefer in life. You don't need that many beliefs about it. You don't need to do as much as you think you need to do. You need to allow yourself to know that if there is something impeding your ability to be where it is you prefer to be, that it's only your belief system that is impeding it. Your definition of what you think you need is too narrow, and you need to broaden it.
Okay, then.
So, what is it you think you need at this moment in your belief system in order to go and move somewhere where you prefer in a way that is comfortable for you? What do you think at this point is lacking that prevents you from being able to do that?
The financial means to have the...
Aha! So you're only focused on the idea that the only way you can achieve this is through the concept you call money?
Well, I will need to have the equipment to provide heat and warm.
And what makes you think there aren't other ways to get that?
Well, I would be alone in nature, basically.
So what?
So
what makes you think there aren't other ways for you to get that?
Well, that's the issue, basically, because actually it's a paradox. I feel like being...
All right, we understand. But here's what perhaps will help you understand what we are saying. There are many forms of support, many forms of abundance. Money on your planet may be one symbol, but it's only one symbol. Being given a gift is a symbol of abundance. Having something to trade with someone is a symbol of abundance to get what you need. Synchronicity is a symbol of abundance. Imagination is a symbol of abundance. Communication is a symbol of abundance, because all these things can allow you to experience a flow of receiving the support you need when you need it, in perfect timing, in the form in which you need it, to be able to continue to act on your highest passion. You have to make room for all the forms of abundance to be equally capable of coming into your life. But if you focus only on one as being the only one that's more important, the only one that can get you where you need to be, you're actually closing the doors through all the other ways in which abundance can come to you in these different forms. In many cases, in many circumstances, in many situations, sometimes different forms of abundance have to work together in order to give you the 100% abundance that you need to move forward. So sometimes it might be that a small amount of money will come into your life, but if no more comes in that allows you to do what you need to do, that would be your first clue that some other form of abundance may need to come in to join it. And maybe another form of abundance will come in and join that. And then all together, those different forms, those different expressions of abundance and support will then give you what you need. So maybe in some circumstances, it will be a little bit of money, a little bit of somebody giving you something you need, a little bit of being able to trade with somebody for something that you need, or your imagination will open up and go, oh, there's a different way I can do this. And so by doing it a different way, I may not need what I think I need right now, or I'll get it along another path that I haven't imagined before. You have to be open to all these forms of abundance to truly be supported in your passion in life. And then you will see that as it flows, it will flow you exactly in the correct direction, and you'll wind up exactly where you need to be, when you need to be there. That supports you in the best possible way to allow you to continue to act on your excitement. But you can't have any insistence that it must look a certain way, because the real truth is you have no idea what the ideal outcome for you actually should look like. You just have to trust that the ideal outcome will unfold in the way that serves you best. Is this making some sense?
Yes.
Is this helping?
Very much.
All right. So practice relaxing your insistence on focusing on only one definition of abundance and support, and you will start allowing yourself to perceive through synchronicity other forms of abundance magically coming in. And then you will see your path more clearly.
Okay, so you said you cannot shift to a vastly different reality.
I didn't say that. I simply said you cannot shift to one that's not relevant for you.
Okay. You said you